Imagine this. You're lying in a hospital bed, your body weak and aching, every breath a struggle. The doctors have just told you that you need constant care, that without it, things could turn really bad. You reach for your phone, your hands shaking, and call the one person you trust most in the world, your son. But instead of rushing to your side, he has other plans. Plans that involve sandy beaches, fancy drinks, and his new wife, while you fade away alone. This is the story of how I, Elena, a devoted mother, was betrayed by my own flesh and blood. It starts with a phone call that shattered my world, but ends with a revenge that no one saw coming. Stick with me because what happened next will leave you questioning everything you think you know about family loyalty. Let me take you back a bit. I was 65 years old, living in a quiet suburb just outside Chicago. My husband, Tom, had passed away 10 years earlier from a sudden heart attack, leaving me to raise our son, Michael, on my own. Michael was my everything. From the moment he was born, with those big blue eyes and tiny hands clutching my finger, I knew I'd do anything for him. I worked 2 jobs, days at a local diner, nights cleaning offices, just to make sure he had clothes on his back and food on the table. I skipped meals so he could have seconds. I missed out on my own dreams so he could chase his. Michael grew up smart and ambitious. He got good grades, played soccer in high school, and even earned a scholarship to college. I was so proud when he graduated with a degree in business. "Mom," he'd say, hugging me tight, "one day I'm going to take care of you. You'll never have to worry about a thing." Those words echoed in my mind for years, giving me hope during the tough times. After college, he landed a great job at a tech company, met his wife, Sarah, and they got married in a beautiful ceremony that I helped plan. I even sold some of my jewelry to contribute to the wedding fund. Life seemed perfect. We talked every week, shared laughs over Sunday dinners, and I felt like all my sacrifices had paid off. But then things started to change. It was subtle at first. Michael's calls became shorter, his visits less frequent. He'd blame it on work stress or Sarah's family obligations. I didn't think much of it. Kids grow up, right? They have their own lives. But deep down, a little voice whispered that something wasn't right. I pushed it away, telling myself I was just being paranoid. After all, he was my son. He loved me, or so I thought. One crisp autumn morning, I woke up feeling off. My chest hurt, like a heavy weight was pressing down. I tried to ignore it, but by afternoon I could barely stand. I called my doctor, and they rushed me to the hospital. Tests revealed a serious heart condition, congestive heart failure. The doctor sat me down, his face grave. "Elena, this is manageable with medication and rest, but you can't be alone right now. You need someone to help monitor you, especially in the first few weeks." My mind raced. Who could I call? Michael, of course. He lived just an hour away. With trembling fingers, I dialed his number. "Michael, honey, it's Mom. I'm in the hospital. They say I need help at home for a bit. Can you come?" There was a pause on the other end, longer than it should have been. "Mom, Sarah and we're actually heading out on vacation tomorrow. It's our anniversary trip to Hawaii. We've been planning it for months." My heart sank. "Vacation? Now? But Michael, I need you." The doctor said. He cut me off. "Look, Mom, it's just a week. Can't you hire a nurse or something? We can talk when I get back." Hire a nurse? With what money? I had barely enough from my pension to cover bills. Tears stung my eyes as I whispered, "Okay, son, have fun." The line went dead, and I was left staring at the blank screen, feeling more alone than ever. As the days dragged on in that sterile hospital room, nurses coming and going, I couldn't stop thinking about it. How could he just leave? Didn't he care? Little did I know, this was just the beginning of a betrayal that ran deeper than I could imagine. What secrets was Michael hiding? And how far would I go to uncover them? Hold on, because the story is about to take a turn you won't believe. Transitioning from that heartbreaking phone call, let's dive deeper into the foundation of our relationship. You see, to understand the depth of this betrayal, you have to know how unbreakable I thought our bond was. Michael wasn't just my son. He was my anchor in a stormy sea. After Tom's death, we clung to each other like lifelines. I'd tug him into bed every night, telling stories of his dad, the brave firefighter who saved lives. Your father would be so proud of you, I'd say, brushing his hair back. Those moments built a trust I never questioned. As Michael grew, our life wasn't easy. Money was tight, but we made it work. I remember one Christmas when he was 12. He wanted a new bike, but I couldn't afford it. Instead, I stayed up all night fixing up an old one from the neighbor's garage sale, painting it red, his favorite color, and adding stickers. His face lit up Christmas morning. "Mom, this is the best gift ever," he exclaimed, hugging me so tight I could barely breathe. From then on, he promised to always be there for me, just like I was for him. High school brought challenges. Michael hit a rough patch, hanging with the wrong crowd, skipping classes. But I stepped in, grounding him, talking through his frustrations. "Life's not fair, but we fight through it together," I'd tell him. He turned it around, graduated top of his class. College was my proudest moment. I drove him to campus, tears in my eyes as I waved goodbye. "Call me anytime, Mom," he said, and he did, for a while. Then came Sarah. She was charming with a bright smile and ambitious dreams. They met at work, and soon wedding bells were ringing. I welcomed her like a daughter, sharing family recipes, helping decorate their new home. But slowly, cracks appeared. Sarah would make little comments. "Elena, you should really update your wardrobe." Or, "Why don't you move to a smaller place? This house is too big for one." I brushed them off, thinking she meant well. Michael defended her, saying she was just modern. But looking back, those were red flags. My health had been declining for years. Aches from years of hard labor, high blood pressure from stress. Michael knew this. We talked about it. "When you need me, Mom, I'll be there," he'd assure me. So when the heart failure diagnosis hit, I didn't hesitate to call. But his response? It was like a slap in the face. As I lay there in the hospital, discharged with a bag of pills and instructions for bed rest, I hired a part-time aide with my meager savings. She was kind, but it wasn't the same. Nights were the worst, staring at the ceiling, wondering why my son chose a vacation over me. Meanwhile, social media told a different story. I couldn't help but check. There they were, Michael and Sarah sipping cocktails on the beach, laughing under palm trees. "Living our best life. #anniversary bliss," the caption read. My chest tightened, not just from the illness, but from the pain of abandonment. How could he post that while I suffered? It fueled a fire inside me, a spark of anger that would soon ignite into something bigger. But wait, there's more to this puzzle. What if Michael's escape wasn't just a vacation? What if he was running from something? As I dug deeper from my sickbed, secrets began to unravel. Stay tuned, because the conflict brewing was about to explode. Building on those lonely nights, The storm of conflict truly began to gather. Discharged from the hospital, I returned home to an empty house that felt colder than ever. The aide, Maria, came by daily to check my vitals and prepare meals, but her presence only highlighted Michael's absence. "Where's your family?" she'd ask gently. I'd force a smile. "Busy, I guess." But inside, resentment bubbled like a pot about to boil over. The days blurred into one another. Mornings started with pills that made me dizzy. Afternoons with naps interrupted by worry. I'd scroll through old photos, Michael's baby pictures, our trips to the lake, holidays filled with laughter. Each image twisted the knife deeper. Why wasn't he here? I tried calling him during the vacation, but it went straight to voicemail. "Hey, Mom, Paradise calls. Talk soon." His cheerful message mocked me. Then, one evening, as Maria helped me into bed, my phone buzzed. It was a text from my neighbor, Mrs. Jenkins. "Elena, hope you're okay. Saw Michael's car at your house last week before you went to the hospital. He was loading boxes into the trunk. Looked in a hurry." Boxes? What boxes? My mind raced. I hadn't noticed anything missing, but with my health, I hadn't checked the attic or basement. The next day, despite Maria's protests, I shuffled to the attic. Dust motes danced in the flashlight beam as I pulled down old storage bins. One was open, family heirlooms gone. My mother's antique jewelry, Tom's war medals, even the deed to our family cabin up north. Panic set in. Had Michael taken them? Why? I confronted him in my mind 100 times, but he was still away. Instead, I called my old friend, Lisa, a retired lawyer. "Elena, that sounds suspicious," she said. "Let me look into it." She promised to check public records discreetly. Meanwhile, the pain in my chest wasn't just physical anymore. It was emotional. A storm of doubt and hurt swirling inside. As the vacation week ended, Michael finally called. "Mom, we're back. How are you?" His voice was casual, like nothing happened. "How am I?" "Michael, I was alone. You left me to suffer." Silence. Then, "Mom, it was just a trip. Sarah needed the break. Work's been tough." Excuses poured out, but they rang hollow. I hung up, tears streaming. That call confirmed it. The conflict wasn't just about abandonment. There was more. He was hiding something. Little did I know, the boxes were just the tip of the iceberg. As Lisa dug, she uncovered financial trails that led back to Michael. Loans in my name, debts I never knew about. The storm was intensifying, and betrayal was on the horizon. What would I find next? The answers would shock even me. From the gathering doubts, the betrayal hit like a thunderclap, sharp, loud, and impossible to ignore. It started with Lisa's call a few days after Michael's return. "Elena, sit down," she said, her voice tense. "I checked your credit report. There are loans totaling over $50,000 in your name. Personal loans, credit cards. The applications trace back to Michael's IP address. He forged your signature." My world tilted. Forged. Stolen heirlooms weren't enough. He'd used my identity to fund his lifestyle. The vacation, the fancy car they drove, paid for with my future. I felt sick, not from the heart condition, but from the stab of treachery. "Why, Lisa? Why would he do this?" She sighed. "Gambling debts, from what I can see. Online records show he's been betting big on sports sites. Sarah might be involved too. Joint accounts." I confronted him that night. He came over, looking sheepish, with a bouquet of cheap flowers. "Mom, about the hospital," I cut him off, holding up the credit report printout. "Explain this, Michael." The loans, the theft. His face paled. "Mom, it was temporary." I was in a bind. Sarah's business idea needed startup cash. I planned to pay it back. Lies. And the heirlooms? He shifted. Pawned them for quick money, but I'll get them back. Anger surged through me like fire. You left me alone suffering while you escaped with my money? Betrayed by my own son. He begged, please, don't tell anyone. Sarah doesn't know the full extent, but I saw through it. This wasn't a mistake. It was calculated. He'd escaped to Hawaii to avoid the fallout, thinking I'd never find out. The betrayal cut deep, severing the last threads of trust. Nights turned into battles with insomnia, replaying every sacrifice I'd made. How could the boy I raised become this? But in the darkness, a resolve formed. He thought he could escape consequences? Number. Revenge was brewing, subtle yet devastating. What plan would I hatch? The pieces were falling into place. As the betrayal's wound festered, I shifted from victim to strategist, plotting my revenge in the quiet shadows of my home. Maria noticed the change. You're looking stronger, Elena, she'd say. Physically, maybe. The meds were helping. But emotionally, I was steeling myself. No more tears. It was time for action. First, I gathered evidence. Lisa helped me compile documents, bank statements, pawn shop receipts, even screenshots of Michael's gambling history from public forums where he'd boasted anonymously. We can take this to the authorities, she suggested, but jail. Too harsh for my son, despite everything. No, my revenge needed to be personal, teaching him a lesson he'd never forget without destroying him completely. The plan crystallized over coffee with Lisa. Expose him, but on your terms, she said. We'd use the family cabin deed. He'd taken it, thinking to sell it for quick cash, but it was in my name, with a clause allowing me to transfer ownership upon proof of betrayal. Old family law stuff from Tom's side. I'd pretend to forgive, lure him in, then reveal everything at a family gathering. I called Michael, voice steady. Son, let's put this behind us. Come over for dinner with Sarah. He jumped at it, relieved. Thanks, Mom. I knew you'd understand. Oh, he had no idea. Meanwhile, I invited extended family, aunts, uncles, cousins, who'd always adored Michael. A reunion, I called it, but it was a trap. As days passed, I rehearsed in my mind the shock on his face, the exposure of his lies. It wasn't about money, it was about justice, making him feel the abandonment I endured. Suspense built inside me. Would it work? Or would it backfire? The climax was approaching, and I was ready to strike. With the plan set, tension mounted like a coiled spring, ready to unleash. The dinner was scheduled for a Saturday evening. I spent the week preparing, cooking Michael's favorite lasagna, setting the table with heirloom china, the pieces he hadn't stolen. Maria helped, sensing my determination. Be careful, Elena, she warned. Hearts can break in many ways. Family arrived early, hugs and chatter filling the house. Aunt Clara pinched my cheeks. You look well, dear. I smiled, hiding the storm inside. Michael and Sarah showed up last, arms linked, looking picture perfect. Mom, this is great, he said, kissing my cheek. Hypocrite. Dinner progressed smoothly, stories shared, laughter echoing. But as dessert came, I stood. Everyone, I have something to share. The room quieted. I pulled out the folder. Michael, you betrayed me, left me to suffer while you escaped with stolen money and items. Gasps rippled. I laid out the evidence, loans, pawns, the vacation photos juxtaposed with my hospital bills. Michael's face drained of color. Mom, no. Sarah looked stunned. What is this? Family murmured in shock. Uncle Joe boomed, "Boy, how could you?" The tension peaked, accusations flying. Michael begged, "It was a mistake." But the damage was done. Exposed, shut down in front of those he cared about impressing. In that moment, revenge tasted bittersweet. But was this the end? The climax had more twists. The tension erupted into a full climax, emotions exploding like fireworks in the night. Michael stood, chair scraping. "Mom, you're ruining everything." "Ruining?" He'd ruined me first. Sarah cried, "Michael, is this true?" He nodded, defeated. I was desperate. Family intervened. Aunt Clara comforted me. Uncle Joe lectured Michael. "You've shamed us all." I revealed the final blow. "The cabin? It's now in trust for the grandchildren you'll never control. And the loans reported to authorities for fraud investigation." Michael's eyes widened. "Mom, please." He stormed out, Sarah following in tears. The room fell silent, then supportive words flowed. "You did what you had to, Elena." But inside, my heart ached. Revenge achieved, but at what cost? The confrontation left everyone speechless, bonds tested. As they left, I collapsed, exhausted but empowered. The plan worked, but resolution loomed. What now? From the explosive fallout, resolution began as we picked up the pieces. Michael called the next day, apologetic. "Mom, I'm sorry. I'll pay everything back." Sarah left him temporarily, staying with her parents. The family rallied around me, offering help with bills and visits. Authorities investigated, but I chose not to press charges, fully restitution instead. Michael entered gambling counseling, working extra to repay. Slowly, he visited, rebuilding trust brick by brick. "I never meant to hurt you," he'd say. Forgiveness came gradually, not overnight. My health improved with support. Maria became a friend, and I joined a support group for betrayed parents. Life stabilized, scars healing. In the quiet aftermath, reflections brought rebirth. I looked back on the journey, from abandonment to empowerment. Michael changed, becoming more attentive, helping with chores, sharing honest talks. Family ties strengthened, honesty prevailing. I felt reborn, stronger than before. Finally, the moral echoes through. Betrayal cuts deep, but revenge, done right, brings justice and growth. Family isn't just blood, it's loyalty. Learn from pain, forgive when earned, but never forget. In the end, standing up changes everything. What would you do in my shoes? Think about it.